a big shot unless we talking about hip-hop. Bad at TikTok, but I'll make movies like Hitchcock. Challenge Mitch, you'll barely make it like trick shots. Check your wristwatch, it's time for you all to quit. Stop trying me. I'ma be honest, I'm pretty glad no labels eyeing me. I'm independent and I don't want nobody buying me.
CHH is dead. It's over. It's a wrap. Finito. Finished. We're done. I'm wearing the all black because I got a funeral to get to. CHH funeral, right? It's over. It's a wrap. Okay. Now, real talk, I'm wearing all black because I always wear all black. Today is Mr. Darrell, and today I'm going to talk about CHH is dead. What I mean by that is a sentence that I have seen a handful of times, maybe half a dozen times since I've been in CHH. I've been in CHH for like 5 years, so I've probably seen it like twice a year. And different people use that phrase for different things. But recently, about a week ago, I believe, somebody tweeted it, and it kind of started up a conversation, as it usually does. And I decided, why not take it and talk about it? Because you love to talk about things. So let's start off, right? I'm going to be lazy and just read stuff off my phone instead of putting it up on the screen, because this is kind of impromptu. But Brandon Boone, he is I am B Boone on Twitter. Brandon Boone, he said CHH is dead, and then proceeded later to comment under it and said, this is not a shot at any artist. I'm speaking about the genre as a whole and the infrastructure, but y'all not ready for that discussion. So to give some context, a lot of people didn't know who Brandon Boone was. I was familiar with the name. Of course, when people see something like that, they like to say, who's saying it? Is it an upset artist? Is it a fan? Who is he? No, he is more than that. He is more than all those things. Let me read his bio real quick. It says, co-owner of Build Your Own Dreams Tweets, was BYOD Tweets, head of marketing at RMG, co-owner of 413 Creative. So he's got a lot of titles, right? So I'm familiar with Build Your Own Dreams. Shout out to Aaron Knight. He's a co-owner. I believe it's him and her. I don't know if there's another owner. If Aaron, if you're watching this, you can let me know. But I will read it's just BYOD, just buildyourown.dreams.com. I'm going to read their mission straight from their website. Their mission is to empower ownership by building your own dreams. And they consider themselves a creative agency and lifestyle brand. And as of right now, I know they support No Big Deal, Indie Tribe, Portia Love, and Caleb Mitchell. So again, shout out to Aaron Knight. Big fan of you and what you do. So if you work with Brandon Boone, to me, that gives just enough credibility to the tweet. So just in case anyone was like, who is this nobody? Because you know how people like to do that. I think I've been guilty of doing that before. You like to question, whoever's saying the message, you kind of want to ignore it based on who it is that's saying it. But Brandon Boone seems to be on the up and up, and seems to be somebody who would be knowledgeable enough to say something like that, right? So first off, when people say CHH is dead, the reason it causes so much stir is because there's so many people in CHH, right? I'm an artist in CHH. I have friends who are artists in CHH. I know fans of CHH. I'm also media in Christian hip hop. I have friends that are media in Christian hip hop. Labels, like there's a lot of different people who support and love, care about, contribute to the space that is known as CHH Christian hip hop, right? So when you say to a bunch of people in that space, this thing is dead, and without offering any other information, at least not initially, people are going to be upset. They're going to be like, no, it's not. Like, I'm in it. I'm doing it. Like, what about this? What about that? And that's valid. That was my initial response. Actually, I didn't even respond. I just kind of tweeted the next day, CHH is alive and well. It ultimately just depends on your definition, right? So Brandon mentioned infrastructure, right? So my guy, Jay Crumb, former Christian hip hop artist and former Christian, I believe right now he's agnostic. And if he sees this and I'm incorrect, please let me know, Jay Crumb. But he responded, and let me read exactly what he wrote. He's very knowledgeable about the music space, music business as a whole. And he quote tweeted it and said, I can tell a lot of you don't know what infrastructure means. So he said, music industry works in 10 key parts. Also, J. Crumb teaches a course. He charges for this course for indie artists, so hit him up. Music industry works in 10 key parts. Recording industry, which is record labels. Digital music distribution industry. 3, streaming. 4, live and touring industry. 5, licensing and sync. 6, artist management. 7, music publishing industry. 8, radio. 9, legal. And 10, audience and fan attention. He said, take an honest look at all of these parts and what exists and is profitable largely in CHH, and you'll see why people say it's dead. Second page is kind of like an explanation, some examples. Only one thriving record label in the entire genre. That's true. That is Reach Records. Overall low streaming numbers. Yeah, that's relative, but yeah. No real touring circuits outside of churches, and even those are mad exclusive. Not many landing sync opportunities. That's true. I've been trying for so long. Someone please help me. Let's see. No managers because all y'all want to rap. Because y'all all want to rap. That's true. Don't get me started on how many of y'all are not on BMI and ASCAP. Most radio doesn't mess with y'all. No lawyers are working in the genre because they're smart. And it's a small but rabid fan base. Small but rabid fan base. So all facts, all things that I think actually expound upon the idea of why someone might say CHH is dead or dying. So the first thing I want to say is from the definition of dead, meaning it is doing nothing. It might as well not be here. That's what people think of when they hear dead. There's nothing happening, nothing good or really anything is coming from this. It might as well not exist. CHH is not dead. It might be struggling in certain ways. It can improve in certain ways. It's not dead, and the way we know it's not dead is because, like, perfect example, I grew up going to a church in Charlotte for my entire life up until I went to college, right? It was a small congregation. We didn't have elders and deacons for the longest time. The preacher was getting kind of older. There was families and kids there, but we just felt like it was small, right? Now, we were still a thriving congregation. Now I've left. My family's moved out. Basically, nowadays the church is struggling because there are less families there, less kids there. I believe like the attendance is dropping. Those people now look back on the days when I used to go there and go like, even though we didn't have everything we needed and we weren't perfect, we were still a thriving, growing congregation. And now we miss those days. So now, even though obviously I wouldn't call the congregation dead now, they're doing worse. You can always be doing worse. So you don't recognize what is going well and what you're doing right and the positives you have and what's thriving until, let's say, half of the artists leave CHH. Let's say Reach Records shuts down for whatever reason. Then we'll look back at now and be like, oh man, like, even though we said it was dead then, it still had promise. There was still hope. There were still things we could do moving forward. We didn't focus enough on that. We just kept calling it dead, and it made no one want to do anything. So that's why the whole using the word dead hurts people's feelings and kind of causes an uproar, because without the explanation or of how to make it alive or to keep it alive longer, it just feels like you're dissing something that we're blessed to have in any sort of capacity, if that makes sense. So just want to start off with that, right? I don't love calling it dead because it implies that it really is dead and that there's nothing. If it's dead, we're not God. It's not Lazarus. We can't bring it back, right? So yeah, I like what J. Crumb posted because it really explained what it is, why someone might say something like Christian hip hop is dead or dying or isn't doing well, and what needs to change, right? So, of course, first thing that came to mind, one of the first things was Dayton, because he's been a big proponent of Christian hip hop. He came out with a project a couple of years ago called CHH Ain't Dead, Volume 1. He was going to do a Volume 2. He said I was going to be on it. So this news that I'm about to read you is very unfortunate. But he said, I got tagged in this a few times when dude tweeted this. Honestly, I'm done trying to champion this subgenre. That's why I trashed CHH Ain't Dead Volume 2. I love CHH for what it is. I'm proud to be here, and I still rep it to the fullest, but my focus is to champion the Christ, not CHH. And I get that. It's sad, but I get it. Because that's the thing, too. I feel like maybe Boone and Dayton should have, like, a longer conversation. But when you're someone like Dayton who's really trying to get people to know, like, CHH is around, it's alive. He did a whole project with a ton of artists called CHH Ain't Dead that did really well, and he was going to do a part 2. And then in the years since then, people are calling it dead and trashing it. It's just like, why? If I'm Dayton, why would I want to keep, championing this thing that it seems like the people in it don't even want to be a part of or don't even really seem to appreciate, or I don't know. So that's why I feel like throwing around the it's dead thing just hurts a lot of people, and it's better to maybe lead with CHH is struggling here. Here's what to do to fix it, right? Now, for me, I'm just a humble rapper and talker, right? I've never managed anything in my life. I really appreciate Build Your Own Dreams. I appreciate Aaron, because she brings something that there's, like what Jay Crumb said, there's not really many managers. There's not a lot of infrastructure because everyone just wants to rap and get streams and maybe get signed to Reach Records, you know? So I have no idea what the actual practical, tangible steps are in order to get it moving and in order to add more revenue stream. I mean, I'm an artist in the space. I would love to have more money in the space to be given out to people, right? I don't know how to go about it, but what I do know is I would prefer the expounding, such as what Jay Crumb posted, actually explaining what is wrong rather than people just saying it's dead or being unhappy with it and saying, you know, this is trash or y'all don't do this or this, there's not enough of it. Like I really need almost like a checklist to say, here's what we can do to make, because realistically, right, it's got to come from the top down, right? And to be completely honest, Reach Records is doing well. They don't necessarily have to change anything they're doing. Really, they're doing fine. It's almost up to like the rest of us to catch up. But who's going to be the one to like lead the charge and say, this, it's almost like we need a not a council, but kind of like some group of leadership somehow to kind of be like, these are changes we're going to make. This is how we're going to do this, that, and the other. Here's goals to set. I feel like it's tough. It's a lot of independent artists, very few labels. It's going to be hard to get a lot of people on the same page. And so I feel like right now, as for the time being, people are content just kind of finding their own fan base, getting their streams up, kind of blowing up and almost leaving the space and going on to do bigger and better things, right? So it's disheartening. Can things change? I believe so. Have I ever thought about leaving Christian hip hop? Absolutely. Did I decide to stay because I felt like I can make a difference? Yeah. Do I feel like I'm making a difference? Yeah. Praise God. Do I have the answers to this? I don't. I'm sure if anybody in the comments, you can leave your thoughts on this entire thing, what you think about CHH, what you think about the infrastructure. It's really tough because I imagine if I'm just a fan of Christian hip hop, I'm just liking getting new music from my favorite artists, and I don't really, maybe if they could tour, that'd be cool. If they make some money, that'd be cool. But ultimately, it's not dead to me. I got the music to listen to, right? So as long as we don't get discouraged and take the problems that CHH has and use that to be like, okay, well, we might as well not do this anymore and let's just leave and not make music and become secular, you know, like that's hurting the fans ultimately. I'm fine if I never make a livable wage off of my music. It'd be cool too. That's not really my goal per se. I just like making the music that helps people and that people need, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this conversation got a little more sad than I thought because I don't know. Maybe I'll think on it. Maybe I'll talk to Jay Crumb and some other people and come back with maybe some solutions to make CHH not be dead anymore. Dead. But until then, I at least want us to maybe stop calling it dead. Just call it what it is. It's not perfect. We can change some things. Some things can improve. The infrastructure needs to improve, but it's not dead. It's not dead, I promise. And Dayton, please make volume 2. Not even because you said I was going to be on it, because you did say I was going to be on it. But not even because of that, but because I feel like it's needed. And I feel like the first one did what it was supposed to do, at least for a little while. So it keeps me encouraged. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your week. Don't say that CHH is dead, because it's not. Go listen to Dayton's CHH Ain't Dead Volume 1. Have a great rest of the week. I appreciate you guys. Praise God. Peace.